There it is, man. You talk about
looks good.
I was about
The Flash.
Hey, John, you talk about right there in a hurry, man. We already got 53 people in here,
and it's already it didn't go through the whole intro, didn't it?
Hey, you know what? We got the best producers in the world, Law Nation.
Looks good to me.
That's good. That's good. Looks good. Looks good. Looks good. You know,
trying to get my gummy worms and get some energy. All right, here we go.
Edibles?
I couldn't get.
No, John. No. There we go. He said edibles is crazy. In the cloud? in the cloud, Johnny? Am I in the clouds? No, I'm not, guys.
I don't know, man. I don't think that first one's doing anything. You might want to take a second one and see what
John Machota, Law Nation. We're without Skywalker still, but we'll get the job done. Today will be more kind of like informative. John told us pre-show that he has some high-level thoughts for us.
Nuggets.
Also,
high level,
baby. And I'm pretty sure John will be getting us some information on this once we actually get our DC. And he'll be giving us some the goods for sure. But I also want to just tell the fans, thank you, guys. Like I know we're at one day, but the numbers already look great. We can't do it without you guys. Right. And so, with that being said, what number we at, Law Nation?
Billy Joe Dupree, episode 86, man.
Episode 86. Law Nation, John Machota stepping in. And not stepping in, but and Skywalker Steele is not here today, but he is family. And he will be on as always. We are going to be talking about all things Cowboys, and we'll kind of talk about this defensive coordinator and the candidates in the search. But as always, here's Johnny.
So I'm sure a lot of you are seeing a bunch of these names coming in for the DC job in terms of people that they're interviewing right now. I mean, the list is pretty out there, whether you talk about Jim Leonard or Jonathan Gannon, Aaron Whitecotton, Durante Jones, Zach Orr. I mean, there's a lot of names. So they're clearly showing you that they're doing what they said, that they're casting a wide net. I just don't believe a lot of these guys are legitimate candidates. Now, they'll never say that. But I think that this is also a part of maybe interviewing some of these guys to be on their staff as well, because there's just some of these names where I don't think that Brian Schottenheimer is in position to hire someone that's kind of a first time ever being DC type coach. And so when I see the names that are out there so far, Jonathan Gannon and Jim Leonard are the two that really stand out to me. That would be my Vegas betting odds favorite. Those would be my top two. There hasn't been a name that's come out since, even the ones today. Charlie Bullen from the Giants, DeMarcus Covington from the Packers. I really can't see the Cowboys giving their DC job coming off of what they came off of and how bad it was to somebody who hasn't been a DC in the NFL before. I mean, they could, but that seems like a huge risk to be taking just because of how bad things were last year. It'd be different if, the talent was a little bit better on defense and everything was running a little bit smoother. But it was so bad on that defensive side of the ball that I don't think you can really take a chance on a guy that, hey, one of these guys that they bring in might end up being the best guy 3-4 years from now. But I'm talking this hire has to hit the ground running. There can't be any, we knew it was his first time coaching, being in charge of the defense. So next year will be that. Well, there's no next year. You already wasted a year of prime Dak. Okay. You can't be waiting on another year. You can't do that. The quarterback's $60 million a year. You cannot be wasting those years. And so that's why I say, I'm not saying that they're just bringing him in for no reason. I think that maybe one of these guys ends up being on the staff, or maybe they just want to get intel about other things. And maybe there is someone that surprises them. So maybe there is a chance it ends up being one. I just personally I'll be surprised if it's not someone who has some major DC experience.
No doubt. Well, you think that, I know we don't want, most of us don't want retreads, right? But that could be a situation, like you said, Jerry Jones want to be comfortable and he want to be able to operate out of comfort. So that could be a thing that give him a little comfort level of at least knowing that somebody at least been there before. But do you think that this could be also a calling card for Brian Schottenheimer to at least have an input on maybe someone that he's familiar with, like the Zach Orrs of the worlds, or to a degree, Jim Leonard?
No, for sure. And I don't want it to sound like, if it is a guy that's a former head coach like a Jonathan Gannon, that this is a Jerry hire. I'm talking about, if you're Brian Schottenheimer, why wouldn't you want that? After what you just went through, how much time in his head, maybe even wrote it down, that he spent in the defensive meeting rooms doing things with the defense that he did not plan on at the beginning of the season.
Oh, I can see.
And I don't see why he'd want to go through that again. So that's the part of it too, where I don't think it's just a Jerry saying, hey, this is how we've done it, we're doing it again, deal with it. I'm saying that if I'm him, take Jerry out of it completely. I am Brian Schottenheimer. I'm sitting there going, I can't do that another year. I can't be spending all that time over there on the defense. Like, I have plenty of other things. Who's to say that him spending extra time on the defense didn't impact how he could have been spending some extra time with the special teams and maybe helping some areas there too? It's not like that side of the ball was good either. So I'm saying that whoever is the final pick has to be somebody that they feel very confident can run that room on their own, adjust, make the right decisions, and not have to be looked over and had more time spent in the room because they're not getting the job done. I mean, you can't be swinging and missing over and over again, because again, it's not just Brian Schottenheimer. It's very important to Jerry, and he said it many times about that's why they gave Dak $60 million. You can't be wasting healthy years at Dak Prescott like you did this year, where you don't even get in the playoffs. So
most certainly,
you swing and miss on this DC, that could easily be 3 years in a row not making the playoffs. That's not good. Now, you want to talk about culture? 3 years in a row missing the playoffs? That's a real bad culture. That's a tough hole to dig out.
Let me just make a quick correction. Billy Joe, the pre-war 89. I said Billy Joe.
You need some 86s here?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Butch Johnson. Butch, or who else?
Detroit Lions head coach Dan Campbell.
Dan Campbell. All right, Dan Campbell.
Wait, who'd you say? Oh, you said Butch Johnson. I don't know. I think a lot of people probably remember that.
Yeah,
that touchdown that in today. No, yeah. Who else would stand out on this? I mean, obviously, there's like the more recent guys like Schoonmaker and Dalton Schultz. See, I'll tell you this one. I didn't really remember this because I wasn't down here at the time, but I've become friends with him. Isaiah Stanback. I don't remember him wearing 86.
Wow, I didn't know he.
I feel like he had a single number. Yeah,
I thought he had like a lower, like under 20s, but at some point he wore 86. So I don't remember that.
Wow, I never remember that.
Great dude, though. I don't know if you guys know him at all. He's a great guy.
Oh yeah. Isaiah,
he's really well spoken.
He's
really
super nice guy.
Yeah, really well spoken, really thoughtful. As I feel like we try to be that way, right, John? Anyway,
absolutely.
Here's Johnny. Hey, John, you know what? Let's go through these names. I want to really
okay.
I want to play a name. I want to play a game before we kind of talk about the best candidates. I just want to say real or fake. Okay. So let's go through each name, and then Law's gonna say real or fake. I'm gonna say real or fake. And then John, you kind of already gave us your thoughts, but I'm kind of leaning towards you as well.
No, I'm interested to hear what you guys say. Absolutely.
All right, John, the first name, give it to us.
All right. The first one for me, I'm gonna go with, I'm not gonna do these in any particular order. I'm just doing a knock off the list. I'm gonna start right off on I'm gonna go down my list here. Jonathan Gannon.
Real. Law?
Yeah, real. I think that that's too much noise and smoke about it. So when smoke, there's fire.
Okay.
Jim Leonard, former Wisconsin DC. He's moved up the coaching ranks pretty quickly in the NFL. He's in Denver right now. Vance Joseph calls the defense in Denver, but he is very high on their coaching board. And I don't think anybody will be surprised that if he's a DC in this next season. I don't see him staying in Denver. His name is too hot for him to stay there in that role. I think he ends up getting a DC job, whether it's with the Cowboys or somebody else. So I don't know. How do you guys feel about that one?
Real.
It's real. My gut feeling is going to be Jim Leonard. My gut feeling is telling me that the people that we
don't bury your lead. Don't bury your lead.
That's my gut feeling. Okay, it's real.
Okay,
real.
There you go.
Tell me it's real.
The feeling that we feel. Next one, Johnny.
Aaron Whitecotton, the former, well, not former, I mean, he's currently their defensive line coach, a guy that's thought of pretty highly in the building. I mean, he's a big part of why they got Quinnen Williams. For me, I just think if that was the move, they would have allowed him to call the defense one of these last 2 games of the season. I mean, it was right. I mean, he was already the guy that was quarterback and stuff on the sideline when Mehdi Eberflus went up in the booth. So
I think, let me just say this and I'll let Law go. I think that they want to retain him. I think they would like him on the staff. The question will be, will the next defensive coordinator want to keep him? But I do think that it's interesting that they gave him the respect to interview him. So is it one of those things where maybe they just like, hey, you know what? Let's do them a solid. Maybe this will help him with his next gig. You know, the interesting thing about the D line, do y'all feel like it was like how do y'all think the D line was good this year? Minus the talent?
Well, I think it was the best part of a bad group. And so I don't think it was great, but when you look across the board, it was probably the best part of their defense. But yeah, it was not a
good way to
outstanding, like I just keep going back to Clowney multiple times during the season talking about he's like, I mean, we need to be better than this. I mean, there's just too much talent in this room. And I did think that there was enough talent on the defensive line to be decent. And at times they were, but I wouldn't say it was a good year for the D line.
Yeah. I'm going to piggyback off of what you said, Foots. I think it's a placebo. Far as it's you think it's going to be real. He's not going to be the defensive coordinator. They're interviewing him to be under the staff. He knows, put it like this, he knows who the DC is. So he's going to have a first shake at it, and he will be the only defensive coach to spill over outside of like maybe what's the guy name that been here forever?
Jerry Jones.
No. He's on the defensive side. He's been here forever. Darian Thompson, for some reason, he stays. He always hang over. He must be part of some type of NFL program.
Must be like a graduate assistant who's
yeah. So I think him and Darian Thompson would be the only two guys that would stay over.
If he would have got more out of Fowler, John, we kept coming into the season like Fowler should have given us more. I think Fowler would even admit that he underperformed, but I'm with you, John. Like you felt like between Fowler, Sam Williams, some of these guys would take a jump and they just didn't. And a lot of that's on the player, but it's a good point, John. Give us the next one, buddy.
Durante Jones. He now is
caused a lot of back and forth on Twitter. Go ahead, John. I
passing game coordinator and defensive backs coach right now for Minnesota. So you would be getting a guy that obviously is very familiar with Brian Flores. He was the DC at LSU in 2021, defensive back coach for the Vikings in 2020 and then 2022. And then before that, cornerbacks coach for the Bengals from 18 to 19. But he is a previous, and then before that, assistant DB coach for the Dolphins. So he's in his late 40s, but a guy that he was one of the first names of people that they brought in.
You want to go, Law, or do you want me to go?
I think that I can go ahead and go. He's an educator. I like his exotic schemes and things of that nature. He probably be a little bit ahead of Jim Leonard, but I think that he's been interviewed for probably a position, not as a DC. I just don't think that he's going to be the DC for the Cowboys.
That's crazy that you say that, Law, because I don't think that you're wrong as far as like he has some skins on the wall. He climbed his way up through, he was at HBCU, correct? And he's worked with Fangio. He's worked with you said it earlier, John. He calls the defense in Denver.
Brian Flores.
Not Flores.
In Denver. You're talking about having the time of his life, Vance Joseph.
He's worked with Flores and Vance Joseph, so he's been under.
Please tell me you remember that when that ESPN commentator was like, he's having the time of his life.
I remember that. Yes,
I think he was the head coach of the Broncos. I literally can't think of Vance Joseph and not think about that. So sorry,
bro.
That might just be a me thing.
I think like listening to him speak, I could tell that he's a teacher. The interesting part is they're casting this net with guys who understand the secondary, and we're going to talk about that as well. But I think I'm going to lean towards fake, Law. I think it's fake.
The placebo,
I don't think that this is a real. I don't think, and it's you would hope that the Cowboys aren't wasting these people's time, but I don't think that that's the name. Yeah.
You know what? You know what this remind me of? I think they going into 2021. We interviewed Joe Witt Jr. for DC. He had a big reigning endorsement from Charles Woodson. He was like, "Hey, he helped me out in so many things. This is a shining good opportunity." His name was being brought up into good rooms and good conversations. And a lot of people saying, well, maybe the Cowboys might. And then the next day they interviewed Dan Quinn and everything. So it was like Dan Quinn was the man, but Joe Witt Jr. was going to also work with Dan Quinn. I think that's going to be, I'm hoping that that's the situation, but that we keep Durante here, but it may not be in the capacity of a DC yet.
That's fair, Lo. That's fair.
I don't know if I'm saying this dude's first name the right way, but I think it's Ephraim Banda. EPHRAIM.
Ephraim, I believe.
Ephraim Banda. So right now he was with Cleveland, and his background is more college-wise. He's 44 and did some stuff in 11 with like Incarnate Word, and then was at Texas, Mississippi State, Miami, Utah State. But he's been with Cleveland as a safeties coach since 2023. So to me, that seems like another, like, you're going from Brown safeties coach to then the DC of the Dallas Cowboys. Like, okay. Is Jim Schwartz coming here too? I mean, go on. What do you guys think? I didn't mean to talk you in one direction or the other.
No. You knocked it. You knocked it out of the park, John. That is not a chance. That is the building of the staff right there. Hey, you want to come in, get a secondary, get a job. Hey, this is Dallas. You turn this around. That's Jerry getting these guys on the call. Hey, you know how we do it in Dallas. Give you a little bit extra money. I guess Jerry. That's what that is. I don't think that's for 1 second.
Right. So and then you got to get your qualifiers too. You got to get your quotes. You got to be able to do at least 2 minority interviews. I'm not saying that he's a Rooney Rule interview, but those guys, when you're trying to get those quotes, those quotes in, you got to get them in. So that's a quota deal, and it's a 2-for-1. Yeah, I think that if you can't get Jim Schwartz, at least pick Jim Schwartz's brain, and that's one of his offspring. So I think that's what the Cowboys, if we pay attention to all of this, we bring it in for damn sure. We making sure that our back end is good, our secondary and everything, so we bringing in a lot of those things. So I think next season we're going to have a better situation in that department.
Yeah. The other thing I always wonder with this too, is why not interview as many people as possible? And in the back of your mind, I'm not saying that the guy they want, but one of their finalists or somebody that they want to be one of their finalists could be on a team right now, or could be in a situation where they're like, we need another weekend of football to be played here so some more dominoes kind of fall here. You know what I'm saying? Like where they're like, hey, we like these guys, but we're interested in some of these other guys too, that I just keep going back to. It's wild for the same offseason for the head coaching jobs of the New York Giants, Pittsburgh Steelers, and Baltimore Ravens all to become available. And that's going to open up some musical chairs of all kinds of things that can potentially happen. You know what I'm saying? And because of that, there could be guys out there that think they're getting a head coaching job that don't. And then there could be guys that maybe thought that they were going to be the DC at one place or another. And then all of a sudden now the Cowboys call and they're like, no, I'd rather, if I got a chance to be the Cowboys DC, I'll take that. And so I think that it makes sense to do this, even though there could be another candidate or two that are pretty high on the list that they're like, well, we just haven't had a chance to talk to them yet, but we're interested in them too,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you knocked that out the park, John.
Next one would be Charlie.
Toxic Tom, before you go, John, Toxic Tom said, I thought Law would have had the drop ready. Look at my African American over there.
It's somewhere in there. Yes, indeed. I won't have it ready. Yes, indeed.
Go ahead, John.
Yeah, next is Charlie Bullen. Young dude. I mean, by all, maybe not for everybody, but 41. I think that's young. And he's a guy who's been with the Giants. He has been their outside linebackers coach, and then now he's been their interim DC this season. So a little bit more, obviously, there, being the interim DC, but he's also a guy that has been with the Cardinals. So that could fit with the whole Gannon
yeah,
possibility. or also the fact of Clayton Adams has been around him. So Clayton Adams could be like, hey, we got it. This is a guy to definitely interview, you know? I certainly think Brian thinks a lot of Clayton, that if Clayton said, hey, this is a guy, that Brian would be like, all right, let's make him one of the guys on the list. I'm pretty sure, though, with him, he hasn't interviewed yet. He's scheduled to interview with them. But that would be the next one. So what do you guys think of him?
Fake. I think that those names, some of those names, if it's because even let's be honest with the situation right here, John. Even Jim Leonard is a very underground, you need to know name. I just think that so many people speak so highly of the guy and what he was able to do in college with like
the college one is big for sure.
Yeah,
no doubt.
You know, like
what he did at Wisconsin was known very well across college football for sure.
Right. Yes,
like kind of like your guy that you keep bringing up about from Indiana.
Yeah, Brian Haynes, who, same type of deal where it's like when you get that type of respect on a college level, and it's like it's known like, no, he was the reason. That's when the Joneses, and because the people you trying to sell this to, the Joneses, oh, who's this guy? What? I don't know anything. Oh, this is why. And so I think that name is fake though, John. To be I think it's fake for sure.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. I already got my super team, my framework already in mind. You know, let me know if we're gonna go down that road before I say it.
I do have a name that I think is real that John may read off though.
No, I'm talking about the entire staff, like far as the defensive side. I could take a shot at it right now.
We could talk at it. We could talk about it. But let's wait till we get to these names, and then we'll do it. Law.
Well, certainly.
DeMarcus Covington is another name that was just recently added for an interview. Defensive line coach and run game coordinator for the Packers, had DC experience for a year with New England, and also with their defensive line coach, outside linebackers coach. So he spent a decent amount of time with the Patriots. Another younger dude, I think. Yeah, really young, 36.
Yeah.
That's a newer name that one came out today, I believe. So how do you feel about that one?
I think it's fake.
Yeah. I think that they interviewing him for positioning. You know, that is something that we already. I think we already have our defensive coordinator, and that's why they're interviewing him. They're interviewing him for either a D-line position or something like that, a defensive assistant. So, at the age of 36, there's no way Jerry Jones hand the keys over to that kid.
And I'll do you one better, Law. I think that he may follow Halfley if he gets the Baltimore job, or if he gets. I mean, there are so many jobs available. I don't think that people understand this part. There are jobs, dude. Cleveland's available. Tennessee, the 3
9 openings.
John said. So these staffs, there's gonna be movement, capital M. We got 500 people in here.
Come on with it.
All right. The other thing I was going to say real quick before I get to this next name, though, is that also when you're talking to these candidates, it's also good to be picking their brain on like, what are you seeing? Like, what do you like to do? Where do you think this league is going? You know, and things like that you might not even think about. And I'm not sitting there saying that. I know Brian Schottenheimer has a good feel on where the NFL is right now and where it's going. It's one of the big reasons why Jerry and Steven want him to be the head coach, is because of where, you know, what his vision is and where he thinks things are going forward. But I don't care how much you know about a topic. If you bring out in other experts in that topic, if you guys talk about 50 topics, you can't tell me that there aren't going to be 2 or 3 things at the very least that you're going to be like, you know what? I never thought of it that way. That is interesting. Maybe we need to incorporate more of that. Oh, okay. So you guys, all right. So that's how you guys did in those situations. All right. That's interesting. We need to try and incorporate some of that with whoever our DC is and stuff. So there is more value than just, okay, can you eventually be our DC? All right. If you were, how would you control this situation? All right. What would you do if I told you that our top corner's not playing this week because he had a hard time installing a TV at his house? You know, how are you going to handle that situation?
Right. And you know what, John? This is another thing that I was thinking. It's like I love allegedly. I love the way the team is really picking these guys because, like you said, this is also they're looking at, okay, this guy worked with Vic Fangio. Let me bring him in. This guy worked with Jim Schwartz. Let me bring him in. And this guy worked with Flores. Let me bring him in. So they know something, right? And this is not just saying, okay, I like this. Let's go ahead and jump all in with this. So I do like that. And even by them pulling that guy from the Eagles, at least you can just get the birds feathers all ruffled. Oh, you didn't say the name yet. My bad.
I know
I just like the way we are pulling these names. But go ahead. My bad, guys.
Another big key in it though too is just the age of some of these guys in their 30s, early 40s. So there's also that whole, hey, this is also a guy that he's probably not getting a DC job right now, and even if he's not on our staff and he doesn't get a DC job in this cycle, we might be looking at him in 2 years as a guy that, hey, I remember when we talked to him and then we got to see what he did out, what he put out on the field and that. So yeah, the next one I'll get to, Christian Parker from the Eagles.
Right.
So Christian Parker is a guy who he's got a lot of experience in college, Virginia State, Norfolk State, Notre Dame, Texas A&M, but he's been with the Packers, Broncos, and then now Eagles. Eagles is the DB coach and passing game coordinator. And so you would obviously hope that he'd be pulling some Vic Fangio stuff with him because Vic's is about as good as it gets in defense in the NFL. But yeah, so he's been doing that for the last 2 years, and then 21 to 23 is the DB coach for the Broncos. So yeah, that would be the next one up. Christian Parker, 34 years old.
Wow.
So this one, I know.
So you're basically getting J. Davian Clowney as a coach. Sorry, go
ahead. Right.
This is
the next one really is on that level, but go on.
I'm gonna say real, and here's why. Do I think it'll happen? No, but I do think that they take him serious because he's literally been everywhere. He's Vic's right hand man. If Vic is on the call on the defense, he's the DB coach, and I think I think you just read it off, John, and I went and did some research. Like that's big because what Vic does with his DBs, it's like you said, John. The league respects what Vic Fangio does with those DBs.
Right.
Not to mention, he's developed Pat Surtain. Not to mention, he's developed
keep cooking
those Eagles receivers.
Quinyon Mitchell,
right? Quinyon and
Cooper DeJean.
I love Cooper. Yeah, I love Cooper DeJean coming out of Iowa. He's developed and he's played it well. Then I was reading a few nuggets of how detailed he is with the way he coaches and his note taking ability and all those things. And it sounds like it is real, John. As far as how detailed he is, I don't. Again, it's real for me. Is it real for the Cowboys? I don't know because you ever went to interview somebody or went somewhere and was like, man, I ain't taking this serious. Then you actually start talking to them. You like, man, you know what? He kind of knows what he knows. And so, Law, you hit it on the head.
Right.
Stephen Wayne Jones came out and said, hey man, you know how he talks. You can get the nuggets out of Stephen, right, John? Oh, certainly. When he starts saying certainly is when you get the truth. Certainly, we were disappointed with the secondary. Stop right there. Stop the presses.
Yeah. He's
watching these playoffs. He's watching an expansion Texans team, and their secondary looks like an all-world secondary. And we as Cowboys fans are celebrating Trayvon Diggs making a tackle when everybody on that secondary tackles. Jalen Petrie comes up and tackles. Lassiter comes up and tackles. He's asking, I would hope you guys get this message to the front. Somebody needs to be asking these, how are you going to get these guys to play more physical? How are you going to get them to play more together? The one thing about D'Amico Ryan's scheme is they don't do a lot. Who else has a scheme like that? Vic Fangio. So it's interesting. It's interesting. To me, I say real. Not to get long-winded there.
No, you good. You good.
Say real. I say real on that.
Yeah. And then he had to overlap with Jim Leonard, right? If we're looking at that resume, he was with the Denver Broncos for that length of time. He only been with the the Eagles 1 year, right? So Christian Parker, I think, is very much so real. Man, I put it like this. I love the way we are going because I think that last season we had so much allegiance to Matt Eberflus because Overstreet and Benghazi, all of those were Matt Eberflus guys. So you really couldn't really talk to those guys negatively about Matt Eberflus because they like, hey, he gave me this job. So now we start over with a clean sheet of paper and we're assembling this team with our due diligence in the right way. So I love whatever we're doing. I like what we're doing. I love it. I meant to say, yeah. I love
so
it.
there's no crossover with Leonard because Leonard didn't get there until 24. He's only been in Denver for 2 years, so it was the year after. So he didn't. They didn't overlap there.
They never overlap. Oh,
no.
wait. So who was there at Denver then at that time? Was it Vance Joseph only, or
Vance would be the only one that I would know of.
Okay, so I'm gonna take back some of those things I was saying, Dan. Jeez, well, he's a Fangio guy. Come on with it.
Yeah.
And then the last one I'm leaving, that I would probably, for me, he would be third on my list behind Gannon and Leonard, and that would be Zach Orr from the Ravens, and the youngest one. I'm trying to see here. I think he's already 33.
Wow.
He's 33, and Clowney might be 33 as well.
Wow.
Clowney.
I wonder was he 32. In Baltimore
no,
with
he'll
Clowney?
Be 30. So he's just barely older than Clowney. Clowney will be 33 next month. So in a month. So you're talking about a guy almost the same age as a player that you're going to have on a key player that you're trying to have on your team. But Orr to me is just very interesting because anybody that comes from the Ravens, especially defensively, I'm super interested in. That's been an outstanding part of their organization for a long time. But then he's just got he's got the local ties too. He's a DeSoto kid, played at North Texas, played in the league a little bit for the Ravens, was an undrafted dude, but he's basically he went from being a Ravens defensive analyst to then he was an outside linebackers coach with the Jags in 21. And then he was inside linebackers coach for the Ravens in 22 and 23. And then the last 2 years he's been DC. So that would be interesting to me too. So he would be third for me.
Who do he overlap with? Like any of these guys or?
Nah, not really. No, because I don't think any of these other guys really have, unless I'm forgetting one, you have to have some Ravens experience to overlap. So that's why
did he play with Leonard or did he kind of coach with Schottenheimer? Because he's still super young.
He is super young, yeah. I don't know. I don't think so. Because when he played, he was with the Ravens, and Leonard was never with the Ravens. Schottenheimer was never with the Ravens. So
okay. Well,
I mean, or is interesting because you ask yourself, what happened in that Baltimore defense this year? Was it injuries? Was it, but I'm kind of with John in the sense of it is interesting to know, Baltimore, you always think of physicality. You always think of those guys of doing things the right way. So, he would instantly come in and kind of change some of that. And, I mean, the ties to Texas matter, I'm sure. He can get in there and start talking some of that stuff with those guys. Me being out here, John, Baltimore fans were definitely happy he was leaving, but I think some of that may have to do with you kind of overstayed your welcome. Like you were here with Harbaugh. The whole that doesn't mean that he's not a good coach, right? You know what I mean, Law? Because it didn't work with Harbaugh, and I think Ravens fans were just kind of tired, just like Pittsburgh fans were kind of tired. Just change is good for everybody at times. So he's one I'm with you, John, that it feels real-ish, real-ish. And he's been a part of good defenses. So that's interesting.
If you didn't have such an epic failure this past season, I think a lot of people would be like, oh yeah, get Gannon. That makes total sense. I mean, he was one of the best defensive coordinators in the game. Yeah, it didn't work out as a head coach with Arizona, but there's that part of you now where you're like, yeah, but we talked ourselves into Eberflus being like that too. It didn't work out. How much does this guy adapt? And I think that'll be a key part of the whole discussions that obviously Clayton was around him. He's going to know it the best. And
I got a good question.
There has to be situations where you're around and things don't go the way you plan, and how do you adjust? Because to me, that's the biggest one for me. I think if you make it to the NFL as a coach, you already have a good A plan. You wouldn't have made it to the NFL if you didn't. So I think that what separates you is who can, when the bullets are flying, change up and I personally don't believe anybody's ever done it better in that sense than Bill Belichick in his prime. And I think that's what makes him so great. And then for the college game, I've always felt that way about Nick Saban. Like, I don't think it's the pregame speech. I don't think it's I think doing the stuff right during the week is huge and a big part of it. But what do you do when it matters on Sundays, especially for professional guys that really Monday through Friday, it's like, this is on you. You're a professional. And now it is like that in college too. These guys are getting paid, but like, you got to take care of your body. You got to do all that stuff. But on Sundays, I'm going to have the right game plan for you. And if this team does this, even though we might only spend a little bit of time on it, we already know what the adjustment is because we've already prepared for this potentially to happen. So I'm more interested in that stuff than man, this guy's a great rah-rah guy and he gives great speeches.
Yeah. And I was looking at, most people are kind of upset at the Ravens defense this past season. And I'm looking at ORS. They according to PFF, of course, they had them ranked at 15. So I think all of us would have taken the 15 defense.
Law, everybody hates their coordinator this time of year. They're just tired of it. That's what football is created.
I don't know that the Eagles even liked Kellen Moore as the OC, and they won a Super Bowl with him. So it is what it is.
And now they had Patullo, and I still don't believe that he was the issue. Like, we talked about that, but that's where we are in the NFL. It's the instant success. It's the right now. But you better be careful because you could rush and then end up like Tennessee and the same stuff over and over again. So you got to get it right. After the break, guys, I got questions. You guys get your questions together. I want one question that each of you are asking these coordinators in these interviews, and then we'll go to fans' questions. We can't thank you guys enough. It's dumping in here. The views are going crazy, and we love you all for it. Let's get to the sleeper read, baby!
Sleeper is the #1 fantasy sports app. It pays to know sports. Pick more or less on top players. Your first pick is on us, so start winning now. Play in Texas, Georgia, Minnesota, and 27 more states. Pick anytime across all sports, pregame or live. Over 10 million players are already on Sleeper. Make your picks count. Score up to 1,000 times your cash. Join today. Get up to $100 credit using the code HMA. Call your shot on Sleeper. Download now.
Sleeper. Thank you for sponsoring this channel. I'm going to tell you guys right now, I ain't going to fake the funk. I'm tired. I've been watching film, John. I'm making it, but barely. I ain't going to lie about this one. But the good thing is, we got a loaded show. And when I see that eyeball keep going up, I'm like, Lord, we doing our job. We doing
our job, man. Give us a snippet, man. Who you been watching?
Hold on. Let's get back to the coaches in a second. You brought this up, so let's touch on this real quick.
Let's touch on it, Johnny.
All right. So you said that you're tired because you've been watching tape. And I know that you said you've watched a lot of these players. So this does impact the Cowboys. That's why I'm bringing this up.
Let's go.
I got up your big board right now.
Thank you, Johnny.
And at number 8, you have Oregon quarterback Dante Moore. And he just announced today that he's staying at Oregon. How does that impact the Dallas Cowboys sitting there as picking as early as 12?
First of all, I'm just so honored that John Machota is looking at my big board.
I retweeted it.
While you're looking there, John, in Law Nation, AJ Harris is going back to college football's all over the place, John.
You can't get money now in college, man. You get money, man.
Bro, so AJ Harris decided to go back, which was crazy. I thought that he should have came out long corner from Penn State. And then Mateo Yu, he went back. A few of these guys went back, man, and you just like, dang, why? You guys are getting a chance to get paid. But anyway, John asked a great question. How does it affect the Cowboys? Well, John, if you've been doing this longer than me, and teams talk themselves into quarterbacks. Could this be a Kenny Pickett one type of quarterback in the first round? Maybe. I don't know. And when Ty Simpson goes through the process, could he get all the way into the top 10? I don't know. First of all, I do not think it was smart for Dante Moore to go back. Here's why. I think that the difference between $4 million and a guaranteed, I looked this up. Travis Hunter is getting $46 million guaranteed dollars. So then he was a second pick last year overall. and Moore would have been the second pick or a top 5 pick for sure. Even with the bad performance in the bowl game, I just in a loaded class. But I say all that to say, how does it affect the Cowboys, John? And we'll talk draft. I think that Cowboys fans will have their pick of the top corner once it gets through the process, whether that's Moss or Delane, whether that's Brandon Cisse. You know, they're not going to want to hear this, you know, and I don't really know if I want to say his name, but Jamar McCoy because of the knee, you know, but I mean, I will say this though, Law, about McCoy.
Oh, you think they're going to love Delane after the Morris Claiborne? I mean,
oh man, but come on, I give Delane. I would claim Delane more VT than before I just say, okay, LSU, because I like Delane.
Before Calvin Joseph was at Kentucky, he was also at LSU.
LSU too. We're striking out with these LSU guys.
The reason I mentioned it though, because when I look at your board, let's say your board was exactly the way that the guys got drafted. I look at your board and I go, man, you get Delane at 12, come back at 20, you get Sonny Styles. Whew. You know, like I think that most fans would be happy. I mean, and I also say that because they're players that most fans have probably seen if you've watched college football. You know what I'm saying? Like they're big school guys, played on the big stage. They fill 2 major needs. Like I think you'd be fine with it. But with that being said, I'm telling you, they take an LSU DB, and there will be some people that are critical, even though it is. I mean, LSU's got to be. If there was a while there when Patrick Peterson years where I said it, and Honey Badger, where I'd be like, they were number 1 DBU. I don't know that they've fallen any farther than 2 or 3. I mean, they still put out as good a defensive back.
Stingley doing this thing.
Yeah,
you spot on, John.
Yeah, you're right on the money.
And then John, and let me just tell people about McCoy real quick.
Yeah.
He would have been by the time we get to the Senior Bowl. By the time we get to the Combine in mid-February, he would have been 13 months. No, a year and a month. So whatever that is, removed from the injury. So like a full year, he just didn't play in games. Him and his team decided it's not worth it. But if he goes to the Combine and performs, I think that the Cowboys will have to push that thought about the knee being an issue. And I do think that by the time, if he does check off the box, that's what the process is for. If he checks off the boxes, I'll watch this tape and people want a press man corner. There you go. Him and Brandon Cisse press man. I think Mansour is more can do it all, zone, even be some of that nickel. The question with this is, and we'll talk, we got plenty of time to talk draft, John, is will the Joneses and Will kind of move off of their medical deal when it comes to corner? And you can ask.
I think it would be hard for them to do that at 12. I really do.
At 12.
You're right, John. You are right.
Now, later on in the draft, you know, maybe, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, Jerry talked about it the other day, how much they missed Jordan Lewis. He was a 3rd round pick. He doesn't completely fit that 3rd, 2nd round, maybe. But I just find, man, if you tell me that they're taking a corner at 12, I think that they're going to want those measurables. So that could be an issue. So yeah, I would think that your height wise got to be at least at least a 6 foot corner.
Got to be 6 feet, and that's gonna that's what
I was trying to. That's what I was trying to tell individuals about. Like even to the point, like this more thing, it really pisses in our cereal, because if you wanted to have the opportunity to have a Caleb Downs, that Jeremiah Love, and that Sonny Styles, and all of those guys at that 12th spot, you would need somebody to take a quarterback. You would need somebody to reach at an offensive tackle or offensive lineman in general, so they can push some of those things back. But now I don't see that being possible. But to your point there, Foots and John, I think that you can gamble a little bit, get Styles with 12, and then with the 20th spot, just, man, bite the bullet, get Jamar McCoy. He's going to be nice matched up with Siobhan Revel. When Bland get his foot back together, you put him inside. I think that that's a nice base of your DBs, man, right there.
John, a question, Law, John, you helping us get through this show, buddy. I love you for this.
Yeah.
John, a question, and I think the chat will want you to ask. They're going to draft a corner at some point. Don't care. They may draft 2. They could double that. John, I need you to ask this question. I don't want to forget. What is the plan with Deron Bland and the Cowboys? I'm so tired of them waffling. They have to come to this podium and give us a real plan. Now, will they? Maybe not. Maybe John could get something in a walk-off. But, John, when you get a chance, when that door opens up to ask that question, ask it, please, from me, John, because that's gonna set. Because I'm with you, Law. They're gonna look at Sonny Styles at the combine. He's gonna be available, and they may flip it. They may the way he looks, his body, and him being 6'4", they're gonna look at him and say, I like that corner, but I love him. He's a former safety. He can play all over the middle of the field. He could blitz. He's our guy at 12. And then the corner, but you're not going to be able to do anything if you don't have a direct. And maybe that'll come in with the DC too, John. Right. But how are we going forward with DaRon Bland? Because he's getting outside money, John, Law. Yeah. But is he better inside?
Well, they didn't think that they wanted him to be inside this year with Jordan Lewis going to Jacksonville, and they didn't like what they saw in that. Now, maybe that's with Eberflus, and maybe they get back to more man stuff, and maybe he's fine in there, but I don't think they're going to say very much about DaRon Bland because he's just recently had the second foot surgery. That's obviously problematic, but their actions will speak louder than their words, and their actions will be that they're going to draft a corner high because they have to go in almost as if they don't have any corners on their team. Right. Ravel is he should have a pretty high ceiling. He's wired the right way. Right. Certainly the ideal build. I'm talking about wanting a 6-foot corner. He's a legit. This isn't a fake Wikipedia 6 foot. I mean, Ravel is a legit 6'3". I mean, he is absolutely what you look for in a first round corner. So I think you feel very confident there. But outside of that, you don't have Trayvon Diggs anymore. DaRon Bland with back-to-back major foot issues. You got to be drafting like you don't have any corners on this team. Right. Right. And honestly, I almost feel that way about D end, and I feel that way about linebacker too. So that's why when Steven says stuff like it's probably going to be leaning towards defense, but CeeDee Lamb, we were leaning defense that year, but he fell to us, and I'm just like, I don't care if Carnell Tate is there. You're taking a defensive player, sir. What are we doing here? I say that. I say that though. Yeah.
Who we look at. Who we think about.
They're gonna hate this. Yeah. But my dumb ass could probably be talked into the kid from Miami or one of those offensive tackles. I'm sorry. I know you want to hear that. I know. Way more than you could talk me into a wide receiver or tight end.
Francis, yeah.
Francis probably talk me into Jeremiah Love though.
That's the one.
But we already know. We'll already know on that because if you spend on Javonte, you're not going to be taking no running back in there, because if Javonte is coming back, it's on a multiple year deal. He ain't re-signing for another one. So he's going to want at least 2 years. So you wouldn't be in that ballpark there. But man, it would suck to go. What would that be? Four offensive linemen in the last 5 drafts in the first round. You don't want to have to do that. But that would probably be the only offensive position. I don't know. I just think there's going to be too many good, like I said, looking at your board, there's too many good defensive players that will be there at 12 and 20. It'd be different if they were picking at they had 2 first round picks and they were 22 and 31. You're like, well, I don't know what could really be there. You're basically getting second round picks. 12 and 20 is pretty good. You might get 2 guys that are on your, first round board.
But here's the other thing though, Foots and John, it's just that as much as we don't want to say this, but on offense, our Achilles heel, one of our biggest impediments, been offensive line. So with the 20th pick, it can very much so be Proctor from Alabama. Yeah, I can clearly see Proctor.
See, I would be more interested in the 12, to be honest with you, because if they went for a guy at 12, that would be that. They're like, there's no doubt. Sure. We're gonna this dude's our guy. We're plugging him in at probably left tackle. Kighton goes over to right tackle. Tyler Smith can stay at left guard. But I know Cowboys fans don't want to hear it, and I totally understand. How many years in a row do you got to?
John, you know what this remind me of though? It's kind of like, and it's not the same, but it's similar. It's like picking. Don't check me with the butter knife, guys. It's like picking Tyron Smith over J.J. Watt at that time. Back to that. Do you pick Francis?
And there was no wrong answer.
Yeah, there was no wrong answer there because they needed both. That offensive defense line was old and depleted. If that offensive line is coming off of using 3 of their last first round picks on offensive linemen. Right. Tyron Smith's great. You have to take JJ Watt in that scenario. That's basically what this Cowboys team is facing right now.
Right.
You get the chance at 12 to pick Tyron Smith or JJ Watt. You have to take JJ Watt on this team. Sorry.
On this team. I see what
on
you're
this
saying.
Team. Yeah.
It's going to be so a few things, and I can't wait to have this draft conversation. John, you had some good questions, and Law, we can really we'll build a lot of shows around scenario.
Right.
John, I have not closed the door on them drafting 2 DBs in the first round. Philly did it, and it turned out great, especially if you buy groceries in free agency. Another thing is this. People will close the door on Jeremiah Love. We all look at Detroit as a well-run organization right now, right, Law?
Right.
Guess where Jahmyr Gibbs was drafted? And they traded up, by the way. Guess where he was drafted? Guess what number? Guess what? It was picked 12.
Wow, I didn't know
in the same draft as Bijan Robinson. So for everybody who says no to running back and no, yes, I'm with you. This defense needs to be fixed. It needs to be rebuilt. But if you get the DC in here and he says, you know what? You guys are doing some things schematically off. Give me this free agent, give me my linebacker. I like the D-line. I like the interior play. And you just draft and you let the draft come to you. The receivers, absolutely not. The tackle, I can't believe I'm saying this, but if you don't like Nate Thomas at right, cool. Because you're right, John. I watched Francis, and I think he's going to go in the top 10. He's the only one that I say you could just drop him in, boop, ready to go. Because some of the stuff he did against Cassius Howe, he was erasing dudes. He's good.
And you put him at right or left?
I would put, well, okay.
Yeah.
That's another show. This is why I can't wait to talk about this, John. That's another show. But I will say this, John. Jeremiah Love is the one where I don't think as a prospect, and we're talking about a prospect now, I don't think that he's Ashton Genty, but he's right there. And I do think that Brian Schottenheimer is a good enough play caller to get the most out of 2 backs, even if it is him and Javonte, because you can weaponize that thing and time of possession that thing to death. So that's a really good question. And
I just, with the way the NFL calendar is, though, man, I'm just saying, like, let's say Javonte signs somewhere else, and all they've done in free agency is
got Rico.
Not even. I was going to say, like,
go back and Rico.
I was going to say, like, they bring back Malik Davis and then like a Miles Sanders type, not saying, but somebody like that.
You're cooked.
They go in that draft, everybody is going to be expecting them to take Jeremiah Love if he's there at 12, because they would just blueprint it out for you right there that, like, oh, I can see that. I mean, it just lined up. I mean, they would be one of the top teams that would be looking at running back there. And people would be like, well, it's the Cowboys too. Like, Jerry loves his offensive weapons. Like, I can see them doing this again.
Yeah.
And so that's the only reason why I don't think they'll end up going that way. But I do think it is interesting, though, how many people talk about that David Bailey or Reuben Bain. And I'm just like, I just don't know there's enough spots to even think that's realistic. Either one of them would make it to 12. I think you got to have a top 10 pick to get either one of them dudes.
Yeah. And the combine numbers are gonna just somebody is going to just move up. And I think it's just going to be more than one quarterback. It's going to be more than another offensive lineman.
And if either of them fall to 12, it's probably because there's some serious issues one way or another, whether it be off the field, medical, measurables aren't nearly what people thought they were, things like that. But hey, Micah Parsons fell, heck, they fell out of, he ended up going at what, 11?
I think
they traded back to 12.
I think the Giants dropped the ball on that. They traded back and got Kadarius Toney, and then the Eagles traded up to get Smitty. And
they traded with the Cowboys for them to take Smitty, and then then they traded back and then took Micah. But when they initially, when they could have taken him, I would have been at 10, but then they moved back 2 spots. So yeah, he was at 12.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's there, and then Jared Verse obviously is a guy that fell, and so I'm not saying that all the elite edge rushers,
right, John?
Where Verse fell to? What
it was around there,
like 17 or 18,
18 or 20, somewhere like that. But I mean, like, that's another one where it's like, so that's not to say that you can't get a good edge rusher at 12, but those top guys like that, I mean, every team's looking for him at 19th. That every team's looking for him. It's going to be hard for them 2 guys to get out of the top 10.
I'll make y'all to this too, though. As a prospect,
and I like both of them, but I don't like both of them enough to trade both those first round picks to get one of them.
As a prospect, and all of this, where does Derwin James settles in with the Caleb Downs? Because Derwin James fell all the way to what spot? 15, 16.
Right before the Cowboys
17.
went.
Yeah, right before the Cowboys.
Who's a better safe?
I'll let John speak on Derwin because he watched him at Florida State, and
man,
I'll speak on Downs.
A beast, absolutely,
Yep.
every sense of the word. Like a can't miss prospect at all. Like he should have been fell there. If he was in this draft, I would expect him. Yeah, I think he is Caleb Downs for sure. I mean, other than health issues, like he can do everything. So, yeah, and I didn't get the sense ever when that draft was going on, because that draft was the one that they hosted at AT&T, that the Cowboys were ever more interested in Derwin James than they were Leighton Vander Esch. So that's why them to take Caleb Downs. Well, one, if he was to fall to 12, that's amazing in its own. But if he fell to 12 and they took him, I would love it, but it would also signal a little bit of, all right, they're doing things a little bit differently.
Right.
Of course, this is sports. As is in life, you can argue everything, and you could say the exact same thing about them taking Mozzie Smith when they did, because we all looked at it like, damn,
right. Yeah,
finally spending a first-round pick on a D tackle. I feel very confident Caleb Downs will be a better NFL player than Mozzie Smith.
It's not even close. Here's
also, by the way, if you get Caleb Downs, that puts a lot of pressure on your DC, because you can't just be sitting him back there as a safety. You have to use him all over the place. And if you don't, that's malpractice. So you can't just be, no, this is our guy. We just do, no. You use the 12th pick on Caleb Downs. He has to be Swiss Army knife doing everything. Honestly, the back end version of what you were doing with Micah Parsons. Like, he cannot be in the same spot all the time. You have to constantly be moving him and utilizing him. I mean, he's a weapon.
And you know what? That's the predicament where I could see them going safety and corner right there, John. Now I'm gonna tell you this. I did some research. The last safety drafted in the top 10. Guys want to know who?
Last safety drafted in the top 10. Was Kyle Hamilton top 10?
Nope. He went 14.
Hold on.
Baltimore. It was in 2017.
Hamilton? No.
Yeah. Nope. He fell.
You said Baltimore though, huh? You said Baltimore?
No, he went to Baltimore, but he fell to Baltimore. Baltimore State stood right in it. No. Jamal Adams.
I don't know who it is.
Jamal Adams?
Yeah.
In 2017, he went
That's right.
7. And so the point is this. Yeah. We say this now about Caleb Downs, and I believe it, but when these teams look at their needs, I need a left tackle. Like John said, man, this receiver, man, this Jordan Tyson, look, oh, this Carnell Tate. Oh, this Malachi, this Mekhi Lemon. Oh, this Reuben Bain. I mean, the sacks. And then, this Arvell Reese, he could be my Swiss. And then that's how Downs gets to you, because the positional value is the league does not. This is where I said the Cowboys are in a weird situation, because the DC could come in and say the defense isn't that bad. It was a scheme. You guys have a great D line. You plug this guy on the roof and in the box, because like I said with Downs, Law, to make your point, he's on that Derwin James level. And I think he hits two positions because of how, like John said, he could play in the box. All that stuff we saw Petrie doing, he could do it well, but then he could play on the roof as well. If you get a corner with that, you've now hit 3 positions, in my opinion. So I don't think that's out there.
I said this on the other podcast I do. Well, why do you want to use 20? Aren't you trying to use 20 to package and get Max Crosby? Because like I said on the other show, I was like, I want to go to Oxnard with this defense having Max Crosby and Caleb Downs. Is that too much to ask?
well, for John's world, no, because John is John.
You'd have to give up a lot more than just 20. But
man,
Max Crosby beating Tyler Guyton every one-on-one. Come on, man.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Let's get to these supers, guys. We got carried away on the draft talk. You guys can thank John for that, but we are going to have a Q&A from you guys where we just spend like 30 minutes answering all your questions. We're going to get out of here tonight, hit these supers, but we did not forget about you all. You guys make this show go round, and we can't thank you guys enough for showing out. They showed out tonight, y'all. They did. Great numbers, man. It gave me some good energy because I'm tired. I ain't gonna lie. Been pleasantly surprised with the amount of interviews. Go Cowboys, King Charles. I completely agree. I think that they are doing their job. It's just like we said today, maybe real or fake. It is what it is. What if they're trying to get guys what if they're trying to get these guys understudies since they won't be ready for it? Maybe that. I think John kind of hit on that as well.
For sure.
I could definitely see that. Yo, why Mike Fisher hate on Flores? Go check his video. Hey, Love Mike Fisher. I don't know anything about that, so I don't want to speak on it.
Right.
I have seen a little bit of the whole Flores, and I don't know.
That what do you think is that they think he's overrated? Maybe because I don't.
I think it's that I've heard stuff like he's hard to work with people. And
okay, that would be tough.
It would be tough.
That would be tough because you got to factor in what you're replacing, and they probably want to get away from that. And it seems like that was probably a little bit of an issue with the previous defensive coordinator. So they might be. I get the sense they're trying to get another, like a Dan Quinn type who will flow with the players, will be cool with the stuff that Shoddy wants to do.
Right. High energy type of stuff.
Right. Yeah.
Completely agree, OG. Completely agree, Johnny.
Yeah.
Jim Lynn is the DC, and the only way it's not is because of Brian Flores. It's so funny. The back-to-back super chats, one is not. Hey, you might be right too, cool. I don't know, but I'm not saying you're wrong. Thank you for the $5 for the $4.99. Next year, I would love to get the Cowboys Collective to the USA Navy game and all.
I would love that too, man.
Oh yeah.
Hey, let us know. Hey,
I would love that. It's one of the few college football games that I've never been to. I always thought that the Cowboys schedule would line up with them either playing Philly, New York, or up in Washington, and it just never has with that game because they have talked about potentially 1 year bringing it to AT&T, but I just don't get. Like, that's not the same for me. It needs to be on the East Coast because that's just what I think of it traditionally. So, but yeah, I would love to go to that game.
Good stuff.
The lunatic. What do you say?
The lunatic. Who we interview for DC can be positioned. That I don't know. I will have to do some more research on that. The lunatic. Thank you for the $2 super.
Yeah.
Law, you and Foots got to come. I needed to pick your brain. Stay away from the university. DEBJ, I like Styles over him. Let's just say you like Sonny Styles. Hey, I like Sonny Styles as well, bro. And what do you think about that, Law?
I think, man, I think Styles make fights, man, and you get Styles on his team. It comes from a good football pedigree. His dad played football, won a Super Bowl. So it'll be a good storyline, and especially it would finally identify what we need. We need help at linebacker. And I think that whenever we were trying to draft a linebacker, either they was too good to play linebacker, we had to put them at edge, or they get hurt. So I think that Styles can come right on in and be a linebacker for us finally.
Yeah, I think so. And and that safety ability too is overshown. A part of the future of this team seemed really underutilized, and because I could just tell by the way John's looking. Yeah, he
is. But if he can't stay healthy, you'll be forced to go in another direction. That's the one thing. I mean, he has to be available, and it just he hasn't been enough. But if he can be, then he's absolutely part of the future.
He was the only names that go ahead, Law. He was one of the names that Shoddy kept calling out in the interviews and stuff like that. So appreciate you, Trovon. I think so, bro. Like, that's another malpractice area when it came to the DC. Like, why are we not using this guy a certain way? What's going on? My question to a DC. Well, this is a good one. Why should we pick you to turn around a bottom three defense if I don't draft who you want but what we need? That's a good one.
Yeah, and then here's another thing. What we talking about draft, I know we're wrapping up, but what we're seeing now can completely be changed when we get to DC or when what we do in free agency. So it's still the longest offseason ever.
Yeah, I agree. And the older I get, I feel like they go by quicker and quicker.
They do.
Don't draft CB, go free agent. I mean, I'm not mad. Do both. First, this draft is defensive top. This draft is defense heavy top of draft. Yeah, I mean, John, he got my top 50. It's names. And if you do the math, you'll have a name that you like. And I completely agree. Reese is better than Bain. Don't let this run fool you. Too cool, man. You giving us the bread. I appreciate you.
The one you just went by though, real quick. I just wanted to add a thought on that. The one thing I will say about the corner thing, it said there was one right before that thing. It said don't draft a corner, get in free agency. I think it said go to free. I will say the one thing about corner, that's probably your best bet defensively to position that can play right away.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like there is something about like even a Reuben Bain, there could be a little bit of a growing pains, like D end. They're all not going to be like Micah Parsons that they're taking in the top 10. Corner is one though. If you got a decent one, you can usually put them out there right away. If they took a corner at 12, I feel pretty confident there'd be somebody that could hit the ground run right away. Go on, go to the next one we run.
Definitely doing if they do their homework, John. And, and take the coaches out of it, sadly, because the coaches get you Luke Schoonmaker. No knock on Luke. Luke, if you're watching, we love you and your family. Downs was better than James and Hamilton, John. I don't think that John was saying what John is saying, and I'll answer this one. That's our last one. This what
he got to prove it first, though. But go ahead.
He got to prove it, and
right.
He got to prove it. And the truth is this: I think to John's point, to me, bro, I love me some Derwin James, and the fact that he fell, come on, man,
that was our prime opportunity. Yeah,
the fact that he fell, John, that's different. Yeah. So too cool. He's sending us the bread. Here we go. Quay Walker and Woolen free agent. He got our whole. Hey, too cool. Make sure you come back for the free agent show because we're gonna rebuild this team. We got plenty of time. But thank you so much for the super chats. Too cool. All right, we're gonna let you guys go. We are once a week, and if we get this participation, y'all gonna keep the lights on, man. What a great show. The Cowboys. Hey, John, they're going to keep the lights on, baby.
Yeah.
What a great show. We'll be talking draft. We're getting closer to our defensive coordinator hire. So, as always, thank you guys for liking, sharing, subscribing. Law Nation, John Machota, Sky, we miss you today, bro. Much love. Talk to you guys later. Thank you, chat. Thank you, chat. Thank you, chat. Peace.
Peace.